Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us on AdSense's 10th anniversary. I'm Scott Sheffer, Vice President of Publisher Business Solutions here at Google, and I can't think of a better time than to sit down with Susan Wojcicki, our Senior Vice President of Advertising and Commerce at Google, to talk about how AdSense came from an experimental product to something that's used by more than 2 million publishers worldwide. Now, since we couldn't have all 2 million of our partners join us, we're joined by 3 representative partners, one each from Latin America, the United States, and Europe. So why don't we kick things off by some introductions. Susan, could you start us off, please?
Sure. First, it's great to be here and celebrating the 10th anniversary of AdSense. I'm Susan Wojcicki. I'm the Senior Vice President responsible for ads and commerce, and I've worked on AdSense for 10 years. So it's very, it's quite an important milestone for me personally to be here and to see all the growth of AdSense over the last 10 years.
Great, thank you. It's great to have you here.
Great to be here.
So we're also joined by David of archdaily.com. He hails from Santiago, Chile.
Hello, David Basulto, well, as you say, the co-founder and editor-in-chief of Arch Daily, a web-based startup based in Santiago de Chile. Our mission is to deliver inspiration, knowledge, and tools to the architects who will have the talent to improve the quality of life of the next 3 billion people who will move in cities in the near future. And we reach to a global audience of more than 300,000 people every day. So we have been working with Google AdSense for the past 6 years in order to deliver quality contextual advertising to this worldwide audience.
Great, thank you for joining, David. We also have Catherine of blurs.com from Norwich, England.
Yeah, my name's Catherine. I'm the business manager for blurtit.com. We're an online question and answer site, just with the aim to be helpful and to answer as many questions as we can. And the business wouldn't have got off the ground if it wasn't for AdSense back in 2006.
Great, thank you for joining. And last but not least, we have Sam of pizapp.com from Los Gatos, California, just down the road from here. Sam?
I'm Sam Crisco from pizapp.com. We're an online photo editing and collaging tool, and we've been using AdSense since 2007, and we really owe our entire business success to AdSense.
Great, thank you. Well, I'm going to start off by asking Susan a couple of questions, and then we'll take questions from our live partners and then from our Google Plus audience. So Susan, you were here at the beginning. Can you tell us how AdSense got started? What was the initial vision for the product way back when?
Yeah. So when we first got started with AdSense, we had we realized that our advertisers wanted to have more, be able to extend their reach and have more clicks. And so we thought, how can we take Google's technology and how can we extend it across the web? And at the same time, we also thought, wouldn't it be great if we could take all the work that we do for monetization of our site and we enable everyone on the web, everyone who has a website, to be able to use that. And the amazing thing about technology is that you can have a pretty small team and you can put it up on the web and then people all over the world can find it and can use it. And so that's why it's actually really great to hear these 3 stories of the publishers who are joining us today, because that was our vision then, was how do we enable publishers all over the world to be able to use our monetization and to be able to build a business. And also serve really related targeted ads, so ads that are specific not just to the topic, not like sports, but actually if the page is about a certain sports team, how do we have ads related to that specific sports team? So, so that was the vision, and I'll say it took a lot of people, a lot of time at Google to do that. I've been fortunate that I've been able to work on AdSense for 10 years, but I know in my 10 years that it took many, many people to be able to get to where we are right now. But that was a vision, and we had developed some technology early on, and we weren't really sure. It was called Fill. We weren't really sure what we'd use it for, but it turned out it was great for AdSense, and the rest is history.
Awesome, thank you. And so, you know, AdSense was started in 2003. That was a long time ago. Obviously, AdSense and the product has changed quite a bit over that time, and so has Google. So why is AdSense so important to Google?
Well, AdSense is really important to Google, I think, for so many different reasons. And I'll just start with the fact that that we really care about the web. And AdSense is a way of enabling content owners to be able to monetize their site. And in order to have the web, you need to have lots of content owners, and that's what makes the web such an amazing place, is the fact that anyone can create content and can put up their point of view or tell their story or generate content. And the goal was to enable any of those sites to be able to focus on the content, not necessarily on the monetization, but on the content. Right. And so we really care about the web. We care about generating, supporting publishers. And I think also AdSense is important for advertisers. I mean, we think about the whole ecosystem, sure, and we think about advertisers being able to extend their reach and being in front of the right audience and reaching the right, being on the right pages of different publishers. And then we think about users, and our goal has always been to serve the most relevant advertising. We make sure that the ads are relevant to the page, and so I think from, if you look at that whole ecosystem, it's really helped fuel the web for advertisers, publishers, and users.
Right, right. It's really been an amazing network effect with millions of advertisers and millions of publishers and billions of users interacting with the system every day around the world.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, so we have 2 million publishers now, and that's
amazing.
A pretty amazing number. And I just saw that the average number of checks that we send out every month is 100,000. And if you think about that, that's probably more than most Fortune 500 companies are sending out. So the fact that we're sending that out every month means that there are lots and lots of businesses and lots of people globally that are using AdSense to run their businesses, right, and pay their bills.
Right, just like our 3 partners that joined us today.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's kind of where we've come from. Where do you see AdSense going in the next couple of years, next 10 years? What's in store over the next decade for AdSense?
Well, the last 10 years have been really, the web, if you think about 10 years ago, how much the web has changed. We didn't have mobile 10 years ago. We didn't have video. And so we've been really, really focused on making sure that whatever comes, we are going to enable AdSense monetization for. Apps, video, mobile. And so I think we're going to continue to see a lot of innovation in the computing space. For example, like what's going to happen in terms of TV? Are we going to start seeing a lot more digital and a lot more internet experiences on the TV? Now we have wearable devices, glass is an example of that. And so really our goal with AdSense is wherever people can create content, wherever users are going, we want to be able to enable a monetization solution. Right. But we want to do it in something like, I think the other thing we've really always tried with AdSense is to make it be a native format, so something that works really, really well for users and that works really well for that publisher, and so that it's part of the experience. And I think we're going to innovate a lot in formats and how we display the ads in terms of making the ads more beautiful and richer as people have faster connections. So I think there's just going to be a lot of opportunity for us in the next 10 years to innovate and continue to make AdSense just a really powerful and useful tool for publishers, advertisers, and users. Right.
That makes total sense. I think as the number of formats and media proliferate throughout the web and throughout the world, we clearly want to help our partners focus on creating great content and provide that monetization vehicle for them, regardless of their content, whether it's on video or it's on mobile or what have you. And you can even imagine a future where today we spend a lot of time helping our partners with the product identify the right ad format, the right size, and optimize those ad units. But down the road, you can imagine a vision where a partner could optimize their entire site with AdSense, which would be really exciting.
Yeah, I think one of the things we've actually started to do a lot more with AdSense, and why AdSense turned out to be a much more complicated business than we thought, is because we wound up also being able to enable publishers think about their directly sold inventory, and that led to our acquisition of DoubleClick, which was a pretty big acquisition. But how can we enable all the optimization across all parts of their site? And optimization is just one word, but it means many, many different things. And at the end, optimization can be really, really powerful. It could make all the difference in the world in terms of making the site perform better and perform better for users.
It may not just be revenue, it could be user experience, it could be all sorts of things like that.
Definitely. So how do we enable publishers to be able to get a good understanding of what are the right number of ads that they should be serving on their page? We'd really like to be to be able to give more guidance there, be able to help them get understanding about their content, what content is working really well, and figure out just dynamically, I mean, ideally you just push a button and everything automatically optimizes, and we help you figure out the right experience and the right ads. And
especially with the number of new devices coming on, right? Mobile phones and tablets and phablets and video and TV and everything.
Yes, yeah. So we're working on it. Great. It's coming.
Fantastic. All right. Well, I think now we're going to open it up to some questions from our live partners. And for everyone tuned in on G+, you can post your questions at hashtag AdSense10OnAir on Google+. So we're going to start things off with David. David, do you have a question for Susan?
Yes. Well, as publishers, we need to be always on the edge on how people are consuming content on the internet, or we're going to become irrelevant for them. So I wonder how AdSense is going to go with us and embrace these new formats and new habits of consuming content.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think we definitely recognize that that we need to help all publishers figure out the right trade-offs between users and monetization. And also, there's so many different ways that you now as a publisher can also publish your content. Mobile web, apps, desktop. And part of our goal is to enable you to be able to help you in all of those areas and all of those different devices. And I think that's one of the challenges of being a publisher, is figuring out like what's the right content, what do people want, how many ads to serve, what part should you sell direct, and these are complicated questions. I think that's like, I mean, I'll just say from one of the people who focuses on this full time with a big team of people, like these are hard questions, right. And that's why our goal is to be able to focus on that so that publishers can focus on generating the content, and we can help them with all the other components. And because we know it's complicated and right. It can take a lot of work.
But part of the power of Google is we're facing the same challenge ourselves. So we need to learn how to do that across all of our different properties, all our different devices, et cetera.
Yeah, I think that's actually been a really big plus of ours, is that we are also a publisher. I think, I mean, we have YouTube, we have our own site. And so all the lessons that we have and that we've learned on our own site, we take into consideration when we think about AdSense, when we think about our publisher network, and we try to figure out how does this apply to the network most effectively.
Got it. Great. All right. Well, thanks for your question. So I've got another question here for you, Susan.
Sure.
What's your favorite thing about AdSense?
I would have to say my favorite thing about AdSense is hearing the publisher stories. And I'm just always amazed at how creative people are in the world. And people are able to take this solution that we've created, and they're able to use it on their sites, and they're able to create the most amazing content sites. Right. And so when we see that we were able to help and be a part of that, it's really, really gratifying for us. And we see that people are able to pursue their passion. People are able to quit their job and say, I always had this passion in this one area, and I'm able to now build a business as a result of that. That's incredibly gratifying.
Yeah, it's an amazing story if you think about the fact that Google shared, I think, $7 billion in earnings with partners last year. It certainly contributes to people being able to follow their passion and build businesses around the world.
That's an amazing number.
Yeah, absolutely.
For 10 years.
For 10 years, that's right. Ongoing, right? More for the future. So again, if you have a question on the G+ Hangout, hashtag AdSense10OnAir on Google+. So let's turn to Catherine. Anything you'd like to ask Susan?
Yeah, so I was just wondering, Susan, what do you envisage for the next 10 years of advertising?
Yeah, the next 10 years of advertising.
That's an easy question, right?
Oh yeah. I wish I knew. But I mean, part of our job is to try to create that and to try to build that. And I mean, we think a lot of times about advertising as just information. How do we serve the right information to people at the time that they want it? And I think one of the things that's really over the next 10 years will change a lot is all of the mobile devices. That's something we're focused on now, but I think we're going to continue to see more the emergence of mobile becoming really, really substantial in pretty much every publisher's business. And so we're really focused on thinking about how to enable and take advantage of that. Like, what are the right formats for mobile? How do you incorporate location in a way that users are happy with, but delivers the right examples? And when you think about that, you really should be able to deliver really useful, really amazing ads for our users. And I think that will help publishers because it will provide monetization and will be useful for them. So I think mobile is definitely a huge theme for us, and probably all the video. I mean, when you think about video, it's really not been on the web for that long.
Right.
And in the past, we just didn't have the computing power and the internet, the speeds to be able to serve so much video up. And I think that will be another area that will be increasingly popular. More sites having video, us being able to serve more ads that our users are choosing to see. So we've been on the YouTube network. We've been encouraging our advertisers to use TrueView, which enables a user to choose if they want to see that ad or not. And we find that has overall made the ecosystem really positive because advertisers are creating ads that users want to see, and publishers then are showing an experience where users are choosing what they want to see. And so it's really positive. And so I think introducing more choice for users, more different types of formats, more mobile, all of that will really drive the next 10 years.
Great. So let me pick up on one of the things you mentioned there, which was advertisers, because they're a huge part of the equation for AdSense, right?
Yes.
So when you talk to advertisers, I know you have meetings with large advertisers and agencies. What do you hear from them? What do they want out of our partner network, out of our publishers?
No, I think that's a great question, and we always think about the ecosystem because at the end of the day, having all parts work is what we need to have. It turns out that if we have all parts happy, that optimizes it for everybody. And I think what we hear from advertisers is first of all, they love the reach. They love being on all these publisher sites. They like that it's one way, one network, that they can reach lots of different sites at the same time. But we've also really invested a lot more with our publishers in giving them, with our advertisers, in giving them more control. And also, in the last couple of years, we've focused a lot more on our display advertising business and being able to get advertisers, like some of our larger advertisers, to be able to spend on the display network where they're able to get the reach, but they also have then the control that they want to have. And so what we see is advertisers really want to be able to have that reach, but control with it.
Sure.
And for the display part, we've actually started exploring new types of formats. Like we recently released some of the engagement ad formats where there's a light box and the light. They're beautiful, and they open up, and you can see a catalog, you can see a video, or you can see something streamed, which is amazing. That you can see an ad, and in the ad is like a streamed event, a live streamed event. And so those are the kind of things that I think advertisers get really excited about, like how can I get my video, how can I get my catalog all over that network in front of the right users. And we're really committed to our publishers, but also to our advertisers in developing the solutions that we know that will work for them.
Great. So Sam, we'll give you the last question here. No pressure.
Great. So my question is, what do you envision, or what do you see as some of the greatest challenges and the greatest opportunities for digital advertising over the next couple of years?
Yeah. Well, I think there are definitely lots of challenges and lots of opportunities. Probably the biggest opportunity is the fact that advertisers go where users go, and users are all moving a lot of their media habits to digital. And we see that just happening in terms of them watching, reading more of their news online, on tablets,
it's hard to figure out who's who across all of that, right? Reaching the same user with the same message, right?
So I mean, so that's definitely as users move to more devices, like the cross-device issue has been more of an issue, and so that's definitely been a challenge. But I think there's definitely opportunity as more and more users move online and spend more of their time there. But one of the challenges has been, how do we enable advertisers to move more of their budgets online? And I mean, a lot of the traditional media has been around for a long time. And so marketers have traditional ways that they spend their money, traditional metrics that they use, and it's also easy. They can move
not very
tens of
risky,
millions
right?
of
Yeah,
dollars,
sure.
$100 million, and they can move that pretty easily. And so how do we enable online advertising to really be easier for a traditional marketer to be able to get the control and the reach and make it easy for them to be able to buy and get the audiences that they want? And so I think we have to remember that online advertising as an industry overall is still really young. It hasn't.
You've compared it to your children,
I've compared
right?
it at times to my children. It's a relatively new industry, and when you think about it, I mean, we're a teenager, and like teenagers are good at some things, but they also, they're not quite adults yet, as anyone who lives with teenagers knows. So I think that's where we are. We need to, and then I think in the next 10 years we're gonna mature and we're gonna become more adult. We'll have more capabilities, and I'm hopeful that more traditional advertisers will also come on and spend dollars and get the control that they want and the reach they want and the formats they want, and that's what we're working on. And that's all great news for publishers, because that means that that's investment in the web and on the internet, and all publishers will benefit from that.
Great. Well, thanks, Susan, and
Sure.
Thank you, Sam, for that last great question. I think it lived up to our expectations. So before we wrap up, there's a couple things I'd like to announce for publishers today to mark the 10th anniversary of Google. First, we want to help publishers continue to grow with AdSense. So today we're announcing a free masterclass that you can sign up to become even more of an AdSense expert. You can check out our blog for more details and to register. And secondly, we want to hear what you've been able to accomplish as a result of AdSense. So share your story with us on Google Plus community at #AdSense10 by completing the following sentence. Because of AdSense, I ... was able to pay my mortgage, I was able to put my kids through college, et cetera, et cetera. So for more details on that, visit the AdSense Google Plus page. So to wrap up, let me first say thanks to Susan for sharing her time with us, and to our 3 live partners who joined us on the Hangout, and also to the thousands of publishers who joined us on the Hangout on air. It's a great day for AdSense 10th anniversary. And here's to the next 10 years.
Yes, and I also want to say thank you to all the publishers who have been with us, whether you just joined or you started with us, you were one of our first publishers. I want to say thank you to all of you. And I also want to say thank you to all the people, both internal and external, who have helped us build this business. And I know from building any business, it takes a village to make it happen, and it's because we've had so many great people along the way that have given us feedback, that have given us all their hard work and their input in terms of making it happen. And we're really committed to continuing to grow it, continuing to make AdSense a success for all of you as a way of monetizing your sites. And we're really looking forward to the next 10 years. So thank you, everybody.